Since the last video did pretty well, I dug up 2 more stories you've got to hear. If you're alone right now, I'd say maybe don't watch this, but let's be real, you're gonna watch it anyway. And hit that subscribe button. Help me get this channel monetized so I can keep bringing you creepy stuff like this. Well, get your popcorn and get ready for the first story. I was never the type to pay attention to neon-colored ads blinking on my screen at 2 in the morning. I'd usually ignore them, maybe laugh at their ridiculous claims. So, when I first saw one that said, "Hot single ladies in your area," I scoffed and scrolled on. But after a few minutes of mindless browsing, I noticed the ad changed. This time, the text read, "Hot singles, only 2 kilometers away." I paused. Ads often track your location, but it felt weird to see the exact distance spelled out. I shrugged it off, just a marketing ploy. Nothing new. I got caught up reading a thread for a while, then refreshed. That's when I saw it again, but the distance had shrunk. "Hot singles, near you, 500 meters. There was a face on the banner. A brunette with unsettlingly pale eyes, the iris so washed out it was nearly white. She stared through the screen with a knowing smile. Something about her expression felt too personal, like she knew I was watching. A quick shiver ran through me, but I chalked it up to late-night nerves. I forced my attention elsewhere, until another refresh brought up a third ad. This time it covered the top of the page, big and bold. "I'm closer than you think. 100 meters away." My stomach twisted. I peered out my window, scanning the empty sidewalk lit by a single, flickering street lamp. Nobody was there. I tried to reason it out. Ads can be hyper-targeted, sure, but 100 meters? That was practically my doorstep. I told myself to ignore it, but it got worse. Another banner loaded with the same woman, only now her features were off. Her face looked elongated. Her grin stretched a little too wide, almost like a predatory snarl. The text underneath read, "We see you. 50 meters. I felt a chill roll through me. We? There were multiple figures in the background now, other women with the same pale eyes, all leaning forward, as if pressing closer to the screen. I tried to close the page, but it froze. A pulsing ad replaced everything. "We're right here. 10 meters. My heart thudded. 10 meters is practically my front door. I jumped from my chair and ran to the window, ripping the curtain aside. Again, nothing. Just my silent street. But the atmosphere felt heavier, like something was watching from just beyond the glow of the lamp. When I stumbled back to my laptop, the ad had changed once more. "At your door. Open up." A sharp clatter made me whirl. My front doorknob jiggled, metal scraping metal. Something was trying to get in. My eyes flicked back to the screen, where a new image had replaced the older ads. It was a photo of my house, taken from the sidewalk outside. My porch light was on, the potted plant to the left of the door. And in the banner, that brunette stood near the front steps, unnaturally tall, face partially obscured by a swirl of static. She looked even more distorted, with her eyes fixed in a soulless stare. I heard a second jolt at the door. Fear roared in my ears like white noise. I checked my phone, no signal. My Wi-Fi icon flickered. Then came the final blow. The ad changed yet again, displaying my exact address beneath a brand new photo of me, bathed in the monitor's glow, taken from outside my window. I could see the silhouette of someone behind the glass, holding a camera or phone, capturing me in that moment of terror. "Hot single ladies at my address. Click now." Before I could do anything, slam the laptop shut, call the police, my entire screen went black. The house lights flickered, then died. I stumbled in darkness, heart racing. A faint glow came through the curtains from the street lamp. I tried to catch my breath, tried to push away the thought that something stood right outside. The doorknob rattled once more, then fell silent. I don't know how long I stood there in the darkness, waiting for the next sound or movement. Eventually, The lights surged back on, and my laptop whirred softly. Its screen remained off, but the little power indicator blinked tauntingly, like it was daring me to open it again. I couldn't move, couldn't bring myself to check if that horrifying image was still there. Couldn't look out the window to see if anyone or anything was lurking. Now, whenever I close my eyes, I see that ad, the warped faces, those eyes too pale, too hungry. They came so close. Maybe they're still out there in the night, waiting for me to click, waiting for me to give in. If you see them, don't refresh, don't click, don't even linger on the ad. Because once they know where you are, they're not selling you a date. They're coming to collect. And next time you check your screen, you might find your own face staring back at you from the other side of the glass. And this time, you won't be able to shut the page. This is my first post and is a true story. I was living in a rural area in Oklahoma with my mother at a small lake house, and I'm probably 10 to 11 at this time. One night I'm sleeping in my room when I randomly and abruptly wake up for no reason. This was not normal for me, and I felt very uneasy. The only sound I could hear was my mother snoring in the next room on the couch. I rolled over and tried to go back to sleep, but my need to use the bathroom was growing more urgent, so I grudgingly forced myself to head that way. The bathroom is on the other side of the house, around a corner and past to the kitchen, and finally down a long hallway on the right. So after I made the trip and finished my business, I flipped off the light switch and started heading back to bed. That's when I heard the distinct click of the light switch, and I saw the glow of the bathroom light in the hallway. Terrified, I slowly turned around just to witness the light in the bathroom start clicking on and off. Finally, it shut completely off. In the dark of the hallway, my eyes began to make out a white shape near the end of the hall. It was around my size and crouched to the floor. At this point, I'm frozen to the spot as my mind begins realizing that no one else is home except for my mom and myself. Then the white shape began whispering in a quiet man's voice, "Help me. I'm lost." I remember wanting to scream for my mom, but I couldn't. And instead I barely said, "No," before this thing starts running at me on what sounded like all fours. I quickly ran through the kitchen and around the corner before running to my sleeping mother, shaking her awake. I remember saying, "It's coming, it's coming," and my mother's eyes going from dazed to alert in an instant. She asked me what was going on, and I saw her eyes look over my shoulder before she screamed. Remembering her scream still makes my blood run cold. Never had I heard pure terror like that in my life, even to this day. She grabs me by the arms and pulls me into my room and slams the door. She holds me in her arms with her back pressed against the door as we listen. It sounded like this thing was running around in circles in the kitchen. We could hear hands and feet slapping against the tile. The kitchen had a sliding glass door to the outside, which sounded like it was thrown open then slammed. We sat there horrified until daybreak. I was sent to my grandmother's in the next town for a while after that and never set foot in that house again. Years later, my mother said she went walking around the property after the incident and came across a small burial site with 3 headstones that each belonged to children from the early 1900s. It freaks me out because what I heard that night was a man's voice, but it was so unnatural. My mom still will not tell me what she saw behind me and what it was that made her scream. She tells me she's afraid it will know we're talking about it and it will come back. This is the first of many weird things that have happened in my life.